Mario Kart World is the latest entry, and I know I am late on my review, but I am relatively new to the Nintendo Switch 2 player base, so bear with me on that one. However, Mario Kart World, for me personally, in a personal opinion, is probably my favourite Mario Kart. I'm not saying it's the best Mario Kart. You can have your favourites if you want. Double Dash is still a really good contender, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is obviously fantastic. But Mario Kart World is my new favourite, even though I am a bit disappointed that they've taken away vehicle customization. I do think that was a little bit of a step backwards, but I do like all 40 of the vehicles that you can unlock in this game, so I'm giving it that. Now, obviously, with Mario Kart World, you get a humongous roster of characters, of 50 of them. Disappointed that Link and Zelda have been removed, as well as a lot of other characters that were in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I have no doubt that they will appear in some Season Pass bollocks down the road. It's going to happen. It happened for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's going to happen here for Mario Kart World. But you do get 50 characters, and a lot of them are pretty cool, and ones that have not been done before in the Mario Kart franchise, so that's pretty cool. There are 32 courses for the normal Grand Prix gaming mode, and if you include all the connecting roads between them and whatnot, it's like 221-ish, something like that. There's an insane amount of ground that you can cover here, which is pretty cool. Now, the game does look very good, especially docked and in 4K with HDR. The game does look very good and plays incredibly well, and split screen with two people, it runs still solid frame rates. It's only when you start to get like 3 and 4 people, the frames start to drop a little bit, which is disappointing, but nevertheless, it is there. But if you're playing single player, which I do, and I do play split screen with my children from time to time, but I prefer just having the entire TV to myself, so I like doing it online. It runs absolutely fine, and I do like the physics in the karts as well and stuff. It's just, everything seems to be a bit more bouncy and a bit more next gen with Mario Kart World, which I really do enjoy. The open world aspect seems like a big old afterthought, if you ask me. It's fine, basically. Like, my son, who is 7, he hops on there and he drives around, and there are challenges that you can do, and you can unlock stickers and different costumes for characters and whatnot, which is pretty cool as well. But it's fine. It's just something to do. A major disappointment with the open world is that there's nothing more meaty to get your teeth into, and also nothing like just something like Diddy Kong Racing or Crash Team Racing, where there's a story related and you've got to drive to the different points, like a story mode, like a tournament within the Mario Kart universe. Just something to add to that, maybe, that would have been pretty cool. But alas, this is the way it is, and you also cannot do it split screen or multiplayer, which is a crying shame for, obviously, children, which Nintendo were aimed towards children. So it seems a bit odd that they'd have an open world mode that you can't just drive around in split screen with your brother or your sister. It just seems to be a bit bizarre. Now, the real showstopper here, and the thing that stands out the most with Mario Kart World, is the new Knockout Tournament. The new Knockout Tournament is badass. It is so much fun, and I'm quite happy to say that I've actually won a couple online, which for me, it was a massive struggle. I've put a lot of hours into Mario Kart World over the last couple of weeks, and I've always done like okay-ish to really well, and then I've come second on a couple of them, and even, well, as I'm recording this today, I won two knockout tournaments online, when the competition is fierce, as you will know. I've never known a competition to be as fierce as it is on Mario Kart World, with all the other Mario Karts, I mean, because it's just insane the amount of people that just bash into you, bump into you. But the fact that there's a lot more happening on the roads now, with a lot more vehicles, a lot more obstacles and enemies and hammer guys and all sorts of, like, the plants. There's just so much on the road now. Obviously, with the capabilities of the Switch 2, they can have shitloads going on at the same time, and it's a ton of fun to be able to just see it, drive amongst it. You've got to keep on your toes, especially with the Knockout Tournament, or any game mode in Mario Kart in general, but especially here with World. That Knockout Tournament, you could be smooth sailing. You take one shell or one fireball, and everyone else is already on your ass anyway, and you'll get knocked out. It can happen so fast. It's very frustrating, but That's Mario Kart, and it's a ton of fun. The online, for me personally, works flawlessly. I've had no connection issues. I've had nothing of the sort. I only tend to get that in Super Smash Brothers, if I'm honest. Like, somebody has a shite connection or disconnects because they're getting their ass handed to them. And if you're getting your ass handed to you by me on Super Smash Brothers, you need to rethink your whole life, because I suck at Super Smash Bros. I love the game, but I am so crap at it. I'm old and crusty now. I'm nearly 40, so you know I'm dancing on the fault line of death, basically. But Mario Kart World is definitely a must-have for the Switch. Luckily, it's a bundle-in game. Unfortunately, it's a download code game when it's bundled in. Of course, if you buy it physically anyway, it is. I believe it's one of the Switch 2 games that is just all on the cart. Bravely Default is another launch game that is just a key. It's a physical like cartridge, but it's just a key. You still have to download the full game. They suck dick. I hate those kind of games. But Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I also have the Switch 2 versions of those, and they look amazing, but I'll get to those at a later date. Here with Mario Kart World, I just wanted to make a little review for myself, just to put it up there. For anybody who is still thinking of getting a Nintendo Switch, maybe you're thinking of getting a Switch 2 for Christmas, or getting one for a loved one for Christmas. The Switch 2 is a very good console. But it's nothing amazing. It's basically a Switch 1.5 base. Essentially, it is. It's bigger. I think the Joy-Cons are much better being magnetic than they were being slidey. They feel much better. I did buy a third-party cheap grip for playing handheld modes, so that it feels more like the Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck is still king of handheld with the comfortability of being able to play it. But the Switch 2 does have a very good library of games. Of course, mostly all the games that are like must plays for the Switch are backwards compatible, so you can play them on the Switch 2. I've tested out like all the ones I have, Xenoblades, and obviously all the Marios and all the whatnots, so they're pretty well backwards compatible and stuff as well. When you transfer over your profile, all your digital games that you bought, well, nearly all of them, they are all backwards compatible, and they're all there, so you can download them, so you lose nothing. I am impressed, but again, I'm not as impressed as I was when I first played the Switch. The Switch was a game changer, not in terms of graphical fidelity and all that kind of crap. At the end of the day, as long as the game is really good, I don't care really what it looks like. I prefer art style over realistic graphics, and of course Nintendo's mainline in-house games like Metroid and whatnot, they have a certain art style which plays and adds to the property that it is. I'd much rather that than another generic-looking, realistic game that just looks like all the others. But not to say that those games aren't good, but of course, because there are plenty of them that are that good. But Mario Kart World, for me, I don't really have any. The only negative I have is that they've taken away vehicle customization and a few of the characters from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's a bit disappointing, but like I said, I can guarantee you we'll get more karts, characters, and courses within the next. Within the season pass for Mario Kart World, whenever that's coming out and whatever that's going to be. But it in all other areas, Mario Kart World is, for me, my favorite. I think it has the favorite course designs. You do have some courses where you obviously go around in a circuit, but for the most part, most of them are just you go from one section of a course to another section and you just keep going. I think I prefer that because it switches it up a bit, and it just again keeps you on your toes, which is what you want. Couple that with the sheer amount, I think it's 22 racers on the track now, and everything else that's happening, and a few of the all the power-ups are obviously all awesome. It makes for a chaotic and a really fun time. So I highly recommend Mario Kart World. It is a absolute must play for a Nintendo Switch 2. If you already have a Switch OLED or Nintendo Switch that is still in full working order and still looks good, I wouldn't rush out the door to buy a Switch 2. I'd wait another year or so for a few more Switch 2 games to come out, because nearly everything coming out this year, besides now Metroid Prime 4, which I hope comes out this year, but still no release date, they're all coming out for Switch anyway. And yes, I know the Switch struggles to play some games and the frames drop here and there, and I'll give the Switch 2 that. The games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, for example, they're actually playable now on Switch 2, so I've actually been participating in that. And the same with a lot of the other games, like Xenoblade Chronicles X. The frames are solid 30, which is a shame. I hoped that there would be a patch for 60. There may be in the future, but who knows. But yes, it's just a Switch, but a bit better. Like Mario Kart World is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but for me personally, in some areas, a bit better. But like I said, with the lack of vehicle customization and the characters, it drops a few points there. But 100% worth it. Mario Kart World, I'm having a ton of fun with, and I will continue to have a ton of fun with. I've unlocked all the carts, and I'm working on unlocking all the different costumes for the characters and all the stickers, which is the game's version of achievements, I suppose. But besides that, I'm just having a whale of fun playing online against all the absolute insane sweatlords that are out there. But please let me know in the comments down below if you have played Mario Kart World. And as always, thank you very much for watching.
In the Classic Grand Prix, race through 4 courses in a bid for first place.